Hello everyone. Today we're going to go over Warzone Charadon, Act 1, the Book of Rust, and we're going to update it for 10th edition. And we're basically going to go over the campaign system and get it up to snuff for 10th edition, as well as the crusade rules and get them up to snuff for 10th edition, as well as some of the battlefield rules and the like. We are going to stay away from the army lists, the armies of renown that are in this book, and we're going to focus instead just on the crusade aspect and the campaign aspect and battlefields. So I hope you enjoy this video. So we're going to start with the campaign rules. Now this is a campaign for clubs to be running, so you have a bunch of players divided up into the Chaos team, the Imperium team, and the Raiders team, and they're all playing games along with a few special games for each phase of the campaign. It's a pretty good campaign system they have laid out here. It works really good for a club, and it is well designed for just that. It never really had a chance due to COVID, but it is a pretty good campaign system, and for the most part, you don't have to do anything. And in fact, the very first battlefield they present to you, irradiated wasteland for areas where the Mechanicum is just basically laid it to waste and made it radioactive so that nothing could get on there. The rules are as is. We also have the Metallican Redoubt, and these are battle assets that you can add to the deployment zone. And for the most part, they work as is, with the one exception being the grav wave shock mines. And we've changed that so that now enemy units subtract 2 inches to all their movement through all obstacle and area terrain when they are within range of this particular obstacle. And these are obstacles that you can take and add to the campaign. Now, another thing that pops up is the Ascendancy of Entropy. That's later in the campaign, where you end up rolling up these twists that take effect throughout the games. And we've had to change 2 of them. The first one is Despair. All units count as being below half strength. Well, this is, in effect, all units count as being below half strength. So yes, you're going to be taking, battle shock tests constantly. Atrophy. Units cannot perform actions in a turn in which they moved. Reduce the OC of all units by 1. So this is a pretty big one as far as effects it has on a game. And these are, again, for big club campaign games where you would do this. Although you could do this in your personal games as well if you're trying to recreate the Charadon Warzone. Game Masters things stay the same. Secret orders stay the same. And they have a number of legendary missions, which are kind of finishing off missions for a campaign for a club. So, and they are pretty standard. Again, no need to really convert or change anything. This one in particular is a good one for just ending the campaign. And I'll just, for those of you who have the book, look through it and you'll see it's pretty insane, and it's a good kind of fun battle to end the campaign on. We then have the crusade rules, and crusade rules, relics, battle traits, weapon enhancements, requisitions are the same as ever. And there are also virulent gifts. These are upgrades bestowed to Death Guard characters in exchange for virulence points that your crusade force has acquired. So basically, you can spend requisition points to get virulent gifts instead. And those are one-time use items for the Death Guard for your crusade. And they're pretty good. We have the crusade relics. Again, to start with, pretty standard. However, the Mimic Shroud needed a little updating. Infantry model, excluding Imperium and Chaos. That's who can take it. Enemy models are -1 to hit this model. So if you're running a Dark Elder Archon and you give them a Mimic Shroud, anyone trying to hit them or a unit he's with are at -1 to hit. The only other one that's different is Abaddon's Writ. Add 3 inches to this model's aura ability, and you add +2 to this model's OC. That's what the Writ does now. It needed just a minor update. Battle traits that you can gain due to Obelisk Invasion. Again, the first 2, pretty standard for characters. However, Master of the Counterattack has to be changed to increase combined points value of units that can be placed in reserve by 250 points. So you can have an additional 250 points above and beyond what you normally can in reserve. That's what Master of the Counterattack allows you to do. And then you have these ones. Unwavering Conviction. While in range of an objective marker, add +2 to the battle shock test. So if you would normally be, say you have an leadership of 6, on a 4 you'd still be pass, you need a 3 now to fail battle shock. Dug In. While in range of an objective marker, add +1 to Overwatch fire versus a charge. So when someone charges you and you pay the stratagem to Overwatch, when you're within range of an objective marker, add +1 to your hit. So instead of hitting on 6s, you're now going to hit on 5s and 6s. Imperium vehicle units. We just changed one thing. Emotion is a weakness. Each time a ranged attack is made by a model of this unit, if it remains stationary in your previous movement phase, add 1 to the attack's hit roll. You also add +1 to the hit with close combat attacks, have the move characteristics of the unit. So, as written, chaos vehicles are as is, and vehicles and monsters for others are, again, as is. Weapon enhancements did not change. These are pretty good to use. You also have requisitions that you can take, add to your crusade. And then we have virulent gifts. And for 1 requisition point, you can take a virulent gift. Purchase this requisition at any time. 1 Death Guard character receives a virulent gift from the virulent gifts table. No character may have more than a single gift. Now these gifts are 1-use items. But they're fairly powerful. For example, a good example would be pulsing bile sacs. When the bearer loses a wound, you can use this virulent gift. If you do until the end of the turn, each time the bearer would lose a wound, roll a d6. On a 4 or 5, that wound is not lost. On a 6, that wound is not lost. And if the enemy unit that made the attack is within engagement range of the bearer, then after it is finished making its attacks, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. This virulent gift is then lost at the end of the turn, is removed from the bearer's crusade card. So it's a nice one-off ability. Kind of a neat little thing you can do, and that is what crusade is all about, is neat little things. Now, Bolt Fly Swarm needed a little adjusting. When an enemy psyker is within 24 inches of the bearer and uses a psychic attack or aura ability, roll 2d6. On a 7+, psychic attack or ability fails and has no effect. So if they're going to be using a shooting attack that has psychic in it, again, you can do this. And on a 7-up, it has no effect. Now on a 10-up, the same result as a 7-up, but the enemy unit also suffers 2d6 mortal wounds. This gift is then lost. So it's a one-time use to try to stop someone with a psychic ability or a psychic attack, shooting attack from doing it, and possibly doing mortal wounds. Not bad for 1 requisition point. It's a one-time use. And it's just kind of fun and adds a lot more flavor than would normally be there. And with that, we have finished going over, updating for Crusade, Warzone Charadon, Book 1, the Book of Rust. I hope you have liked and enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit like and subscribe down below. Thank you very much for your time.